Today, welcome to Yada Mean Magazine. Yada means to know, so that's something we want to get to do.
All right.
So we're going to find out some great things about the greatest hip hop group, band.
There you go. Open no can of worms.
Okay. Don't stop. Better than the group from over in Philly? Better than the band over in Philly?
That's a jazz band. Yeah, that's a jazz
The
band.
Roots is a jazz. Hey.
Jazz band?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they Black Thought's a monster, but the Roots a jazz band. We're a hip hop band
Okay.
from the roots of it.
Okay.
The original hip hop.
Yeah.
Got you. Oh man, look at you.
No disrespect to the uppercomers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Got you.
Thor is a rapper. He's a rapper surrounded by some good musicians.
Okay.
It's something that I had foreseen a long time ago, but you see evidence on it, even at the Blue Note, when you look at the car, right? And you see Khalid Kweli, Cormega, Rod Digger, all of them's coming to play that same place.
Yeah.
But guess what?
It's a band.
You got a lot of that.
Whoa. Because of you guys.
I would
That influence.
Yeah.
Well, for us, right, it really started very.
Well, since you always mouthpiece and things of that nature, give people from the second generation of hip hop, like synopsis of some of you guys' accomplishments and things of that nature, so they kind of know who you all are. Because some of the parents aren't telling the kids about some of the stuff that they need to know about some of you guys,
Right.
and some of the female MCs who opened up different doors. So we need you guys to just give them the second generation of hip hop. You guys let them know who you are.
Well, we Stetsasonic. We probably formed a band about the idea in about 1982.
Okay.
And then we just, you ever see one of those videos where a person is walking down the street, and then as he keeps walking down the street, more and more people start, joining on. That's the way we did it. So
Okay.
the Light Now was initial, and then Fuquan and Wise came next, and then
Did you all, not to cut you off, but did you all ever have any issues like New Edition and some of the other bands, like trying to stay together?
I mean,
even though you all were hip hop, but still
everybody
trying
has-
to keep everybody together.
everybody has issues.
Okay.
We still got love for each other. You know what I'm saying?
But you all brothers, like New Edition?
I mean, I would.
Were you all standing in each other's
I
corner?
would like to say yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay. Because you see how they stand in bodies, corner and stuff like that? And
Yeah.
don't abandon them and don't talk
I
bad
mean,
about
we
them. So-
here. You know what I'm saying? We
Mhm.
here.
Okay. Go stand.
Respect to my brother Prince Paul.
Oh
Yeah.
Where is the Prince Paul?
BBC.
And in spirit, BBC.
Paul is getting ready for the show tonight.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just let them know what you guys have done, some of the projects that you've worked on, and just let the second generation know, so that way they know everything about Stet
Yeah. Well, I mean,
in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, you have individual members here. We've played a very important part of a lot of artists.
And also, not to cut you off, but have you all thought about the importance you all have been on
Well, yeah,
with being with Def Jam and that onslaught of talent and things of that nature?
Well, yeah, I mean, we see how important we are to certain a lot of artists in the new generation today. We just spoke about that earlier. That a lot of us we have a connection with some of the new artists today. Some of them, some listen, some don't, but they respect us though. They understand that our longevity in the game shows that we've been there, done it before, and we still doing it again. No one has never tried this, and we hoping that they don't ever try us, because we'll put a foot in their ass.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're older and we're wiser.
Okay.
We know how to handle the situation.
Okay.
You also asked a question earlier that everybody responded on, is that are we a unit? We're definitely a unit, and we're also a group that we have our faults, and we fight with our faults. But the one thing that we can do, we can come together with this music and bust your ass.
Okay.
Simple as that.
So you guys form like Voltron?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one thing we can do when we get on.
Okay.
You know, but as far as individuals, we all had projects that we all worked on separately. Daddy and myself, we worked on projects like with alternative bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers and They Might Be Giants, and him also working with Mary J. Blige and Junior Mafia.
Okay.
Prince Paul, we all know, had a great success with De La Soul and Big Daddy Kane and the Gas Face record with Third Base.
Right.
Done a lot of that. Also, people have been connecting, wondering, looking at Fuquan and saying, "Yo, that dude from the Grave Diggers, wasn't he a part of Stetsasonic?" It's like, you know, so they see that we're broken bones and other pieces that creates a whole another birth someplace else.
Right.
So Prince Paul and Fuquan got together to form another project called Grave Diggers with Poetic, rest in peace Poetic, and RZA. So we are very influenced to a lot of artists, young generation, and even in the past, our peers. They know what we have done then and what we can do now.
Okay.
So we definitely, we feel we're very important to a lot of people in the
I
industry.
mean, not to mention that we open the doors for artists here in the States
Exactly.
to travel overseas.
Exactly.
Perform over there in different countries with
Yes.
different nationalities.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that a big part of what Russell's vision was with Def Jam? With you all going overseas with LL and some of them? Was that part of his vision?
No,
Or it just kind of happened?
No, actually, you did get on that because that,
Well, we was signed to Rush really, really early, right? So Leo was just getting there, and a lot of what would end up being standard was just ideas. So we were just as influential in our vision as, you know, he might have been influential in the vision of the entire collective. I will say this, that dealing with Stetsasonic was different for them because we were a band.
Okay.
And they didn't have to do that. You know, you even see Run DMC say, you know, rocking without a band. You know, so we were a different element for them to deal with. So, you know, there was, you know, you have to deal with Stetsasonic with a different kind of acumen. You know, you're dealing with more guys, and then you're dealing with a different kind of musical acumen. The other situation with us was just a policy of non-ignorance.
Okay.
So, you know, you heard records that we did like Free South Africa or Freedom or Death or, you know, Big Part of Self-Destruction, you know what I mean? You heard those particular, because we had this,
Pen and paper.
yeah, even pen and paper, yeah. Yeah, we you know, we had a you know, a non-foolishness about us.
Okay.
You know, not only was it adult, but also very responsible.
Okay.
So, and that was different for Russell because, you know, he was dealing with, I mean, you know, I love Run now, but, you know, Run was a little crazy then. You know what I'm saying? So he's dealing with Run crazy and other people, you know what I'm saying? Beastie's crazy. And we, you know, as many of us as it was, you never got that craziness from us.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's get down to the nitty gritty. So this to all the MCs since Mr. DJ cut out on us. What one artist, male or female, that made you run home and work on your bar game that was out between 85 to 90? Who made you want to run home and work on your bars?
I would say none.
No.
I can't.
I say,
He said female.
oh, female?
He said female.
I said male or female?
Oh, male.
Male or female? Because I feel the women don't get enough
Yeah, well,
credit. So
I don't remember. I mean, I remember girl MCs, but I don't remember them being that influential. But Silver Fox, definitely Silver Fox.
okay.
Modi,
Modi.
definitely Melly Mel,
Okay.
and probably both Rodney C and Kev and the Funky Four,
Good.
and that boy Macedon Committee.
Death Committee.
Oh yeah, what was that boy name?
I'm trying to think of his name. I know what you're talking about.
That boy was bad.
Yeah.
They call him Boo, but it's anyway, but him. I was gonna say
Okay.
from
In the
the
Macedon community.
Most of the time.
Anybody else?
Yeah, most of the time it was reason why we initially would say somebody meet us, go home and pick up the pen and pad. Let me reverse that. Because of what had seen from the earlier groups being influential, and then inspired by some of those groups, Grandmaster Cass and Cold Crush, Melly Mel, us seeing them perform and stuff like that. And even Dougie Fresh,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? They are individuals that made us say, hey, yo, this is what we want to do.
Okay.
You know, this is what we're going to strive for and stuff like that. To
Okay.
make records and stuff like that. And you have to understand that the period of time, the music gender was just about singles, which is what it is now. But back then it was just about singles. So, you know, rappers didn't really get in budgets. You know what I'm saying? That's something that we had to
now,
ask.
so not to cut you off, but speaking of singles, because hip hop kind of extended singles, they made singles like
Right.
3.5 minutes to 5.
Right.
So were you all aware of this at the time, or were you just extending the songs like Too Short and some other people was doing?
I mean, you gotta look at what we did with Self-Destruction. We had 20 people on one song. You know what I'm saying? That was about 7 minutes long. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, basically, there was no limitation on the music besides what was given as an artist to a label to distribute. You know what I'm saying? But then again, at the same time, my thing was, I mean, I grew up 75 and 75 writing lyrics. You know, I was skipping school getting my ass wet.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I write at night and shit, and I just go to school and fall asleep. You know what I mean? But then again, I learned because I already grew up under the nation of God and earth, so I had knowledge of self. So therefore,
Right.
some of the classes that we was dealing with, I already knew what I was going to do and how I was going to do it because I was tired. But then again, my competition was like the guys in the group. You know what I'm saying? Because basically, where they came from in a period of time was before me. Okay, so I was still doing my thing at the same time. This was Quan, Gatekeeper, Grave Diggers, Wu-Tang Family and all that. But my thing was, I was always battling Daddy O and
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we grew up as MCs in hip hop.
Are you gonna tell me who? Are you gonna tell me who won the
He's still
battle?
do that now.
Are you gonna tell me who won the battle? Or are you gonna run
Well, you
from
know
it
what?
like?
my thing. You listen to our songs, you listen to our records, and therefore you hear who lyrics is hot, who lyrics is. But we all family, so therefore each one teach one, and we are helping each other at the same time.
Yeah, and the very, you know, so you look at hip hop. I always say this: when most of us was doing this in the very beginning, in our hearts, we always saw ourselves as an extension of the music that came before us. Okay. So, you know, it was, you know, Temptations was 5 members, Jackson 5 was 5 members, you know. It was no secret that that's what the names like the Disco 4, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, you know, the Fearless 4, the Treacherous 3. That's where all that came from. It's kind of looking at our predecessors. And when you looked at the Temptations, I'm using them as one example, you might have had a different favorite. Some people's favorite might have been Melvin. Some people's favorites might have been Eddie Kendrick. Right. A lot of people like David Ruffin, but then there was other people that like somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
same thing with New Edition.
It's the same thing as Stetsasonic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's certain times that I get into a mode, especially now that I could, you know, with the iPad and all of that, I can listen to everything at one time. Sometimes I get into a mode where all I'm doing is listening to him. Okay. My whole focus is him, so I might listen to On Fire or my rhyme, but my whole focus is the 2 things he said. Then sometimes I get down, like, we got some unreleased records that we had made, and we had did Strawberry Letter 22 by the Brothers Johnson. Then my focus goes to him, because he killed that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it really depends, and our fans were the same way, because when we went overseas, we all had, they liked us as, but then we all had individual fans. Right. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, because this guy's got a bass voice. I always call him the razor. It cuts through everything. And then me, I'm just loud. You know what I'm saying? And then Wise does a human percussion, but then he also rhymes too. So You know,
Right.
it just depends. You know, the cool thing about it was this.
Amazing collaboration.
We watched Flash and them, and Flash and them had that, what me and Delight would call a three-wing circus going on.
Okay.
You know, Creole running around, you know, Scorpio over there with a mirror, Melly Mel and Cowboy in the front in control, Flash and Easy Mike in the back. Like, it was just going on. So when we started, we knew that we wanted that kind of depth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why all of these guys, excuse me, that's why all of the people are in the band.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because we wanted the depth.
Okay.
You know, when Fuquan came into the group, it was to add to the depth. It was like, okay, we got this and this, but now we got a razor. You know what I'm saying? That it's like, okay, it's gonna be real. It's gonna be hard to beat us with that. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same situation with everything we do as a band. You know, it's hard to keep up because we got all the elements of hip hop on one stage.
Mm-hmm.
Human percussion, drums, drum machine, turntables, you know what I'm saying? Everything that makes hip hop is on the stage. That's hard to beat.
That's right.
And to clarify to you earlier too, you know, speaking about as far as us being the first hip hop band, me and D, we all have this conversation all the time. You have to understand that there was no, Delight pinned that title. He pinned the title hip hop band. No one was saying that in 1983. It didn't exist in 1983. No one was saying in 1984. So you can check the history of all the rap records that was out there and no one called himself.
No,
Pinned himself
first people
as a band. And then the difference between us, like we said earlier, us and the Roots, I kind of agree with Daddy on one group who kind of similar to us, and that was the Black Eyed Peas in the very early stages before
Fergie.
Before Fergie.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only group I can say that was kind of similar. Because we used the elements of what we had. If you listen to the On Fire album, that first album is strictly everything, not much samples. If we did sample anything, it was just the scratches.
It's really
It was just Paul scratches.
Right.
But other than that, you got the drum machine, you got the live drums, and you got DB on the keyboards. So we used every element that we had to make this sound of music.
Okay.
And people say, well, what is it? Because back then everybody was using the big drum sound with the Lynn drum machine, or hiring Larry Smith and them to play on their records.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had to take the elements of what we had and condense it down.
Right.
And that's another good point, is that all those other guys, and no disrespect to them, Houdini, Run MC, all of them, they always had other people come in the studio and play that stuff.
Right.
It was us doing it.
Right.
It was us doing it. If you see the first album, you see produced, created, Stetsasonic, envisioned by Stetson. Everything is by Stetsasonic because we made it a collaborative effort to all get together and add what we thought. And sometimes it might be a hi-hat from somebody, or somebody say, hey man, just move that. But we put ourselves together to do that. And that's really what being, the way we saw it, especially those of us that have been around prior. These guys was a little younger. We saw War, we saw Mandrill, we saw Earth, Wind, and Fire, we saw, every big man.
We lived in the neighborhood with Brad's Construction and BT Express.
Yeah, we lived in the neighborhood with Brad's.
We were watched them.
Exactly. So it was a band, the same way those bands that came. You know what I'm saying? And we was that. Well, I would say was. We are that for hip hop.
Right.
We were that Brooklyn band coming out of that base like those Brooklyn bands. BT Express is Brooklyn Express. That's what they were called.
Okay. My what if question. Lil Wayne was a local up and coming artist around New York in 1989. Would you make him a member of Stetsasonic or make him a member of your crew and help him get a record deal?
Well, I have a Lil Wayne story. It's not 89 though. So I was an executive at Universal MCA in the 90s.
Okay.
And that Cash Money deal came to me first.
Yeah.
And I passed on it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like anybody but BG.
Ooh.
And when I seen Manny Fresh and them later on, I said, the best thing that ever happened to y'all was me passing on y'all. Because I would have had y'all all sounding like Nas. And that wouldn't have worked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I guess I'd answer that question by saying that's very difficult to say. because, you know, in 1989, if it was Wayne, it would have had to been New Orleans, and New Orleans wasn't rapping. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, right now used to sit there all day and try to help young cats, you know, put them together and make demos on them and all of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for watching Y'all Mean Magazine. Remember, the compliments come from confidence, so make sure that every day you're uplifting someone with your positive wordplay.